Welcome to the Scented Path, where fragrance meets the senses and brings meaning to life's special moments. I'm Natalie, your guide on this journey through scent, self-reflection, and living beautifully. Each week, we'll explore how fragrance inspires balance, stirs memories, and elevates everyday life. Discover how each scent can transform not just your space, but your mood and your path forward. So let's walk this journey one scent at a time. This is the Scented Path. Every room you enter leaves a trace. The question is whether that trace tells your story or someone else's. I know because I left enough of myself in places that never deserved me. I've walked out of spaces where my words stayed, but not in the way I wanted. People twisted them, softened them, or left them unfinished. With legacy, you don't get to opt out. Whether you speak or stay silent, whether you move freely or hold yourself back, something from you is already being bottled. A look, a phrase, a decision, an absence, it all leaves a residue. Legacy has nothing to do with performance. It isn't the grand toast at the table or the graceful moment at the stage. Legacy has density. It sinks in, settles into memory, and refuses to fade like surface impressions do. What lasts is often the smallest things. The way you check someone gently but firmly. The way you walked away without explanation. The way you showed someone else what not to accept just by refusing it yourself. And that's what unsettles me sometimes, because I think about how many moments I wasted performing in rooms that didn't deserve me. How much of that got bottled too? The scraps I left behind instead of the full thing. The fatigue that smelled more like exhaustion than truth. And that was a legacy as well, just not the one I wanted anyone carrying with my name on it. Which is why I stopped pretending legacy is something you plan for later. Later doesn't exist. Every moment is already writing it down. If I had to take a guess at what legacy would smell like, I would say this. Mine used to smell like fatigue and compromise. That mixed of burnt sugar and smoke, like a fire pit on an autumn day. When sweetness goes too far, when you've stayed in the room longer than you should have. Trying to be enough for people who already decided you weren't. However, those notes are very different these days. They move how I move. Amber resin first, warm, golden, steady. It's the proof that when I do give my energy, it sticks. It's not scattered, not wasted. I want the air to hold my presence the way amber holds light. Just undeniable. Patchouli next. Earthy, rooted, a little rough around the edges. That's me choosing to stand in truth, even when it isn't all shined up for show. Patchouli doesn't try to be easy, it plants itself. That's how I move. If I'm in a room, I'm there because I choose it. Not because I was pressured or guilt into it, but I chose it. Then the tonka bean. Deep, sweet, a little smoky. Tonka carries weight without harshness. That's me now too, right? My no lands firm, but not frantic. My yes feels rich because it's rare. I don't hand myself out like samples anymore. When I give, it's full-bodied. And dried rose, preserved, not wilted, beauty that's been tested, held, and still remains. That's how I move now. I don't rush to prove I'm fresh. I let the endurance speak. I let what lasts speak. Amber, patchouli, tonka, rose. Together they smell like permanence. Like something that doesn't just pass through, but stays in the air after I've gone. That's the part that matters the most to me. The scent like this doesn't just hang in the air while the wick is burning. It bottles itself. It becomes the story carried forward, the thing people mention long after you left the room. Legacy shows itself in the smallest traces. The scent in the sweater after someone hugged you, the phrase repeated in another room because you said it once, the silence that reshapes a space when you're not there. Those are the bottled stories. They don't wait for your approval. They're already out there. And this is where listeners turn into legacy, because the same way I leave traces, so do you. The message you sent that gave somebody courage, the silence you held of entertaining the nonsense, the moment you left without explaining yourself, and someone else thought, if she can do it, so can I. That's not presentation, that's residue from living real. The bottle doesn't wait until you're gone. It's filling now. With your choices, with your patterns, with the way people feel after you leave the room. That's the difference between scraps and substance. Scraps disappear, substance stays. I've seen it played out. A listener told me she left a relationship after hearing one line about not giving scraps. Weeks later, her friend repeated the same phrase back to her without even knowing where it came from. That's legacy. Words moving further than you ever planned. Another wrote me saying that she started lighting a candle at the end of every workday because she heard me talk about it once. Months later, her sister picked up the same habit just by being in her space. That's legacy too. An atmosphere carried forward. And sometimes it's silence that travels. I once walked out of a room without defending myself, and later someone messaged me to say that moment gave them the courage to leave their own table. No speech, no explanation, just absence that spoke louder than presence. Those are the stories worth bottling, the ones you don't script, but that still move. The ones that outlive the moment. The stories that outlive us aren't always the ones that we rehearse. Most of the time, it's the unguarded ones. The text that you sent at midnight, the time you didn't explain yourself, the look you gave that made someone else rethink their whole stance. Those are the moments that keep breathing after you've walked away. That's the difference between being heard and leaving something that lasts. What you plant doesn't stay in your mouth, it leaves in theirs. It's the words they repeat, the boundaries they borrow, the courage they claim because they saw you do it first. And that's why I keep coming back to the workbook. Not because you need more tasks or boundaries, but writing things down to actually show you the patterns you've already leaving behind. When you track what you choose, when you pause long enough to see your own residue, you realize that's being bottled right now with your name on it. Some of you have told me how it dawned on you. One said he finally saw that his consistency wasn't small, it was the very thing people admired most. That's what happens when you stop pretending your impact is waiting in the distance. You see, it's already here, already in motion. So the question isn't whether you'll leave something behind, you already are. The question is whether what gets bottled carries your truth or your scraps. Permanence isn't later, it's now. And when it's open years from today, the hope is simple. They'll know it was you. Thanks for joining me on the Scented Path. Remember, finding balance is a luxury we all deserve, and each breath is a chance to embrace harmony and grace. Until next time, breathe easy, live beautifully, and let every moment reflect your truest self. This is the Scented Path, where luxury meets balance.